Okay, we're going to move on from the last tutorial from the smoke. So we're going to do fire this time. I'm just going to show you quickly what it looks like. Now keep in mind this is not like the best fire in the world ever. But this is how, to show you how to make your own. So I've got some really hard lines in this in these textures here, which I want to obviously get rid of. You can see one right here, and I'll show you where these come from. So we're going to be using the same way that I created the smoke. Basically, we're going to be rendering a fire fluid sim in Maya. Let's see. And then I'll obviously link to the description where you can find this in the description of the video where you can find this link. So I'm just going to go to Maya. This is a brand new project. There's nothing in the scene here. I'm opening up my Python script editor and just pasting that in there, and then I'm just going to run the script. And you'll see I basically just followed the VFX master tutorial on YouTube, and then I created the script from what he was doing on there. So I have some way to easily and quickly replicate this. So I'm not going to go through the script. It uses exactly the same stuff we covered in the previous tutorial, even though the audio wasn't that great in that tutorial, unfortunately. So in this one the audio is better, but my mechanical keyboard is going to make some clacking noises. So I'm just going to run that script. Oh, I did. And I've turned my grid off, so I've hidden my grid. So just do a quick render here and just see what it looks like. So I'm going to be using the Arnold renderer, not the hardware renderer, because for fire, the hardware renderer, the color is important. So I'm going to swap on over to Arnold. I'm going to be creating a sub-UV texture again. So I'm going to be rendering PNGs. And I'm going for 256 by 256. And I'm going to be looking for a scene render or sequence render from frame 1 to 150. If I were to use this from the side, I'd be getting a fire texture that's going to be looking something like this, which is, it's got that verticality, it's not a real word, where it's scaled up in the y-axis in Maya. So if you bring it into Unreal Engine, your particles are going to be scaled in the z-axis. I don't want that. I'm looking for something that's a bit more blocky. So I'm going to be rendering these from the top, but now I have another problem. If I just let this particle fluid sim play a little bit on, these wispy, I don't know what you call these wispy, I think it's when just before the particles or as they die, they become a lot more blurry. So I'm sure that has to do with the temperature. So I don't want that because it created these hard edges here. Obviously try to avoid these as much as I can when I did this, but that's how I realized my mistake. So what I want to do is I'm going to go to my fluid. I could obviously change it in the script, which is cool. You can just go and check it out, figure out how the script works. It's all commented really well, well enough. So the thing I found that is causing this is the dissipation, or the temperature dissipation. So I'm going to be setting that up higher. I'm going to go for 10. And I'm going to run through to about frame, I don't know, 50 odd. Let's render that. Okay. It's not what I expected. I think I was just zoomed in a little bit too close. Gotta get the camera just right. My dog is farting. Oh my goodness. Alright, let's try this. See where we end up. If I go too close, I don't want stuff touching the sides because that's creating these hard edges and I don't want to render this again. We can try it. Let's render a sequence, see what happens. Before I do, I just want to make sure my folders are clean where I'm going to be rendering to. Right. Render sequence. Let's take a look. All right. That's all the images where it's touching the sides I'm gonna have to ignore. I'm not gonna be using those. There's quite a lot of them now. Also, the turbulence is throwing the particles as they die all over the place. But these are all okay. That one's not usable. Right, so let's pause the video here.